Okay. So I have let you all know, so the most that anybody's going to see is your name in the recording unless you talk, and then people might hear your voice. But let me share my screen and we'll start with the SkillPASS. So this is the screen everybody comes to when we get into SkillPASS. It's a very quick big button screen, and I just wanted to point out two quick things. We've got along here, as you can see as I'm slowly going over, you've got the menu button, so the menu row, and then we've got these buttons that are our quick buttons down the bottom. A lot of people know this, but I am going to start from left and go to right and just be able to assist you. If you have any questions, please write them down or send them in Teams so that I can answer them afterwards, or make sure that I can answer them during the tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll add an employee. So although this is our home screen, a lot of people get employees and we need to put them in first. So the process is we add an employee and then we give them a SkillPASS and then we give them any training and induction. So our very first is add our employee. So I might go, I'm just making this up as I go, by the way, just as an example. So this is actually my favorite cartoon character. And we'll put them here in my office. So this is where we first go in. Now, if any of you get the yellow bubble that's about to appear, so I'm going to put in Kirsty. I'll change the date of birth. So this bubble means that you just need to contact us. So for whatever reason, your employee could have worked in the NBN or another part of the company, or could have worked in one of our counterparts for Damstra. So in this section, you just give us a quick ring and say, does this person already exist? And a lot of times there's a transfer request form, or we can actually get them put into your portal or let you know what's happening with the person. So I'm going to go put it back because I'm already in the system. We don't need another Kirsty because there's so many I've created already. Oh, that's all right. She can have my date of birth. So I'm going to submit this registration. So this will now give me a person in my portal. So you'll get this very, very lovely green bar to say that we want to go forward. Now, once we've actually done add our employee, we can go and we can add our employee a SkillPASS card or some training. So let's just go in and have a look at that, and we will come back to company. So we'll go into SkillPASS cards, which is this order card / register button. I apologize. I believe my internet might not be going as fast today, but I'm hoping it gets better. So I'm going to order a card. Down below here, you'll see what registrations are currently in progress, and you can see that this one is currently in progress for a heat stress awareness. But like I said, we're going into the order cards register, and I'm going to go SkillPASS. And if the person has a SkillPASS already, you will go replacement card if they need a replacement card, or you'll do renewals in expiries. This is only for a new SkillPASS, and so that's where we're going to click into. So we've got order cards register, order cards / register, and then this SkillPASS card. In this will populate a list of people. Now, as you can see, my list is fairly populated with comments. These comments are usually that the person already has a booking, so that's a trigger to allow you to remember, oh, I've already must have booked them in. Or, you know, so they already have a valid booking, so they've already been done, or they're in the process of doing it. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of this show already registered employees. So I take that off, and this just gives me the list of people I can add. So here is our Tiny Tina, or Tina Tiny, and so we will add this in, and we follow the green. So every time we want to add it in, we just go to continue to the next step with the green. We just follow it through with the green. So this is where a lot of people get confused, but we add in here and we go and check that everything's up to date. So we make sure, yep, that's the name. Most importantly, the email address. If you put the wrong email address, you are actually not going to get the training sent to the particular people. So it's very important to make sure your email address for the person is up to date and accurate. I would also suggest a phone number that's other than you or you guys as administrators, because this will allow me to contact the person. Hey Tina, I'm trying to get your training out to you, but I must have entered your email address in wrong, or there's a syntax error in your email address. Can you let me know what it is so that I can make sure that the training gets out? So these are very important. I'm not going to change any of those details. As you can see, it's turned out and gone to green. So on the right hand side, you have actually two options. You can put in, for example, if they are going to be a labourer, this will allow you to add in all of their details. So you'll add their OH&S card, but you will also need other documentation. To avoid needing all of the other documentation that comes up, so we need an employee photo, construction ID, all of these create a APA labourer. I'm going to go back to step 3 and change that. The best option to push the registrations through is actually SkillPASS General. So I'm going to go back into the select role, click on APA. I'm going to use the arrow button and push that back. And I'm going to look for SkillPASS General. And I'm going to use SkillPASS General as my role. So if we go forward now, it will show us that we only need a driver's license and a passport style photo. That's everything we need to process this one. As you can see, the employee photo and photo ID. So I'm going to go in and upload. So I actually need to drag and drop, but you should be able to select here. Mine's working today, which is great. I actually have a pop-up blocking mine. So I'll go in. And I will add the picture. So that's the picture of Tina. And we'll go to the test license. So this is just a test, just to show you guys. I then go to upload photo. So the top one is always going to be the passport style photo. The second one is their driver's license. Now, despite the fact that I've put it in the top, I also need to put it in for photo ID. But for photo ID, we can accept any of the following. So there's a very long list. HRL licenses, we've got passport, proof of age cards, all sorts of driver's license. So if there's any that I'm missing out of that list, just come and talk to me and we can add that back in. So for this one, I'm just going to go company ID card, and I will make up a few dates just to make sure it goes through. You will normally need to get these off the physical ID of her. So I'm going of the person, sorry, you're updating. So I've got the 19th of the 4th, and so I'm going to go and select the test license. Here we go. And so then this uploads that. Your green window is wonderful. And this is turned to yellow. The yellow means that we are going to verify it from our back end. We make sure that it's a picture of the person and not a picture of a cat or a dog. We've had a few pot plants being uploaded, a few whiteboards. So yeah, we just make sure that it's the actual picture it's supposed to be, and that's how we verify those. We continue through to the next step. Now, I understand most of you are very much aware of this first step, but this first step is very important. So I'm going to go pay for all fees, and I actually have the option to pay for with a purchase order. Some do, some don't. So I am just going to do I've attached my purchase order, and this up here will be the purchase order number. So normally you might have something like that. I'm putting do not pay just so our accounts department know that they don't need to pay for it. So we close this window, and now we just give this screen a moment to think about what it's doing. As you can see up here, it's loading. Um, it will need to be sent through for approval. A lot of people I find miss this last step because everybody's in a rush, and I understand I'm very much in a rush, but we miss and we just jump out of SkillPASS now that we've added the person, but this pushes it through to the next step. So we continue to the next step, and then we send for approval. Sending it for approval means it goes from here to us so that we can verify the information that's been given. So we send for approval, we get a dialog box that comes up. So the selected requests have been sent, and that's what we want to see. It's been sent for approval, and whilst it's still loading, it will come back to our order card / register screen. As you can see, Tiny Tina or Tina Tiny is right here. That's the date in which we did it for today, and complete the whole way through. So I just wanted to stop there for a moment and just make sure everybody is still on board with that. Did you guys just want to give me a thumbs up or unmute yourselves and give me a yes? Beautiful. I got a thumbs up from May. And from Tony. All right, good. So I do apologize that this is a lot of information coming at you. I'd like to stop every now and again just to make sure everybody's on par with this. The next section I'm going to go into is the company. So the company is very, very, very important. In the company, we'll start with company details. This is the actual detail of your company. So this could be any multitudes of things in the system. So when we actually need any forms from you, we need to make sure that we get this portal name. So we have a lot of companies that are private trustee or trustees on behalf of or trading as etc. Or we've got Queensland and branch, a New South Wales branch, a project branch of this particular company. And we at SkillPASS find it very difficult to find which portal people are meant to go into or where we're most supposed to process items into if we don't. So this is very important to make sure that when you deal with any paperwork with us, you let us know your actual company name that's entered into the portal. Apologies. So the next thing we want to do, and I encourage, is everybody to check their phone numbers and their mobile numbers to make sure the accounts person is on here. So these are our accounts people, and you can see that by using the dot and the comma together. I'm sorry, the name escapes me. I believe it's a colon or a half colon, whichever. That will allow you to add a second person into this right here. You go through the same for induction contact and then through addresses. So the most important is this one here. So your card address will be where your cards are being sent. Of late, we've had a lot of 306 Dubbo, New South Wales. So no street name or no street type, etc. Or we've just had Toowong 4066 with no street at all, or we'll get 70 Sylvan. So I feel as though that people are just rushing through things, and I fully understand that. But it's worth going in, because if this one's wrong, you're not going to get your SkillPASS cards that are sent to you. The invoices is obviously important as well, because you want to keep your accounts department happy. Despite them getting their invoices electronically, if we need to send them a physical one, they will go to this address. So we always want to keep accounts department happy. They're the ones who pay us and pay our bills. So we always want to make sure that that one's correct. So if you need to update it, you just use the update button. So we'll go next to login account management. This will be the users of your account, so everybody here. So for example, these are the people who are in my portal or who have access to open the portal. So these are our people, they're the usernames, the status. So I can edit the user notifications, and I can actually delete one. So this person, Claire, stopped working for us. So I am actually going to delete that. So her account is no longer valid or required. So that's where we can click the delete. We'll get the dialog box that comes up. Are you sure you want to delete this account? Yes. And so I'm going to go, okay, so now there is just the 3. This is very important because it allows you to change your users. But as the original administrator to the account, you hold the keys to the kingdom, and you can allow people. So for example, you can let S Jackson, which is Shelley, access to the account or not, to edit and change the company details. So if you don't want Shelley Jackson to change it, you can go into the edit user and the notifications. So this will edit their actual details, and right here, can edit company. If you don't want them to have the ability to edit the company or change people, you just untick it. I'm going to retick it though, because that's my boss and she might get cranky at me. We don't want my boss cranky at me either. So we'll just leave Shelley there. The next part is the notifications. So if you're constantly getting bombarded with a lot of emails, or you're not getting enough emails, the key is that you need to look into your notifications. So we'll have a look here, and this will allow you to enable or disable all of these depending. So if you give your blood alcohol alerts, and you don't want them, here's where you disable it. If you want induction extension offers disabled, you turn that off here. Too many failed attempts on one of our in-house trainings, so one of the trainings supported in SkillPASS, that's the VELPIC. I don't want to know about that. Or maybe I do want to know about that. So it's good that you guys can go in and actually toggle to what you want. And if you are the main administrator, you can go through and change that for every employee, as you've just seen me do that here. So if you need to create another employee, so Claire left, but we need to add somebody else, all we do is create new portal account. So I'm going to go into here, And maybe I'll delete her in just a moment, but we'll add Tiny Tina, right? I have to add my email address because otherwise it doesn't work. And the username, I'm just going to go. Okay, so you need to be able to make sure you get this green so that username is available. If you don't, they won't actually be set up as an account. And I'm going to let her do that. So I'm going to add the user. I will get an email at that email address, and I will then need to verify it, and then it will give me my login details. But I've just made a mistake by adding Tiny Tina, so let's go through and delete her. So as I just showed you before with Claire, we've now just deleted Tina as well. The next important thing is, and this is ultimately the choice on your end, but I actually have two options for people to go through and give each of their individual employees an account. So you can either choose to, one, give everybody an account, which means that they have access on a mobile phone device to upload paperwork, edit details, etc., but only of their profile. Uh, or if you're like a lot of people and don't believe that the boys can be trusted to take the picture of the most appropriate thing to add into the system, or that they take the picture of the right thing, then you can choose not to give them an account. So on here, I can see that Tiny Tina doesn't have an account, and also Warren doesn't have an account. I don't want to give Warren an account, but I do want to give Tina one. So I'm going to go in and click on the no account. I will get a dialog that comes up and it says create account. So we're going to go in and click on create account. This gives them a email that is sent through to their email, so you make sure it's correct before sending it, and they will get an email to verify their account and then to get login details for the application only. It doesn't give them access to the browser information, or it doesn't give them access to the training that's on like any of the company portal. None of that, just their own personal one. So that is a very, very useful tool. So just by show of hands, was everybody aware that that function existed? So nobody knew that existed? That's good. I've kind of taught you guys one thing, so that's a very good thing. And like I said, it is up to your choice on if you want the employees to have it. Some people trust their employees, and some people believe that the workers who go out on site won't know what to do with their paperwork. So it's your choice as administrators to be able to do that. I'm going to go back in. And so now that I've gone through, sorry, I've just had to add somebody in. Somebody's come in. So sorry, I'm just going to mute the participant that's just come in. So we've got the company overview. The next part I wanted to show you is very briefly communications insight messages. These are communications that the company themselves may have been sent. It's very little, but if we send out communications, it will take you to this particular area. So we've had no automated emails come through. You've got registrations, and you can search through them this way. The other one is on site messages. And so that's where you would have received this invite or the email about this invite here. And so you would have been able to go and you can just open the message from here and read it. You know, this is the actual message there. So you can go in and you can respond here, or you can just email admin at SkillPASS. So there, that's the company section. we've got the employee section. So let's go to employee details. Now, a lot of people upload quite a lot of inductions and certificates for people, because if they already exist on the system, you can't actually upload them in this active employee section. You will actually need to go to expiries. But let's go to have a look at Claire's profile. So Claire no longer works for Energy Skills Queensland, and so we are going to terminate Claire. In this, we can see all of Claire's details, all of the training in which she has done. And before I do that, I need to get some information from her profile. So I need to get a copy of her driver's license. And this is where we can go in. And as you can just see, I clicked on show skill documents and come down the bottom. This will show you receipts. It will show you some of the items that have been uploaded, but it will go in and you view the documents. So this is what was uploaded for her. So I'm just going to download it, and I'm unsure if you can see that, but that was just a picture. So from here, I have that in my downloads now, and that's the document I needed. But I no longer want Claire in my portal. She no longer works for us. So I'm just going to go and click on terminate. So the reason is so Claire no longer works for Energy Skills Queensland, and I'm going to go signed off by Kirsty Carpenter. So it's good to put that approval in and who's done that, because these notes will go against her profile, and so I can look for her back of house, or our counterparts in mining Damstra can go and have a look for her profile. So I'm going to terminate. So that does not delete her profile out of the entire backend system. It just takes it out of yours. And you will then get this one and says employee has been terminated, and it will reflect overnight. So when you remove employees, and sometimes when you add employees, it can take overnight for the processing and the syncing for it to actually reflect in your system. But that's good. So we've deleted her. Outside of that, let's go to check out Tiny Tina's. Now, she's not going to have a picture yet because nobody's approved her picture. So we just verify it and make sure it's a picture of her and not a picture of a cactus or a picture of your favorite puppy dog or so forth. So we'll go and have a look at her profile. And so we'll just wait for this to load. Now, there's several things I can do on this. These are what her current details are. That's where I can check on this. You can also go through edit employee details. So if I needed to change that to an 8, that's where we can do it. And then we go submit changes. Or if there's no changes, we just click on no changes. Right here is where we can normally just add a qualification, but because the original request is in, we're just going to wait for that to come. But normally this is where you can click on the upload or upload new picture. So like I said, we can go and we can show the details if there was any documents to show down the bottom. But at this point, there currently isn't, because this one is going through verification. So just to clarify, I just wanted to get a feel for where you guys are. If you guys just wanted to unmute your mics for just a moment and just let me know if you are across the board in everything I've done so far. I do know it's a lot of information, but it would be good just to get some feedback from you guys.
Yeah, all good, Christy. But I hope you don't mind if I ask if we will get like aside from the recording copy, if we're going
Yes,
to get like a hard
it's
copy, like an email on an email with regards to what we have discussed today.
we can
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Um, so this recording will be available in the Teams session, and I can obviously send out an info pack. So I have included the info pack and the transfer request form as documents in Teams as well. But I'm more than happy to take that offline and help you out with some more information afterwards, May. So I'm just going to go through and let's have a look at ordering Tina some training. So we've done our company, we've done our employee, and we know how to add an employee. We've ordered a SkillPASS card. So the next thing we wanted to do was make sure that we actually get uh, Tina some training. And so we'll just wait for this to load, and we might apply an APA training to Tina. So she's got some work for APA that's coming up. We also do some training for Downer. Um, so we're going to go order cards register, then order cards / register for training. So we follow the green buttons along for training and along for SkillPASS. So I've just clicked on the order cards register for training now. And instead of going to the SkillPASS, I'm actually going to go to training and induction. So this is here, and I'm going to go the APA Hse induction. I could also go on the APA environmental induction. The others are the other options in which we actually offer a part of VELPIC. So these are, most of these are $16.50 for all of the training at this current price as at the 30th of April. So we'll go the Hse induction. Now we just give it a moment to think, and we can see that it's thinking by up in the top corner here. Sometimes it will give you a date, other times it will bring you the list. So I always like to go and click on this one, show already registered employees, and untick that. So I'm not going to give people who need it, who don't need it again. So Tina doesn't have it. And in this instance, I might give Nirma the training as well. And I'm like, oh, I didn't actually realize that Andrew doesn't have the training. So I'll make sure Andrew gets the training as well. We then go to continue to the next step. So like I said, we follow the green to the end. And this is going to select Andrew, Tina, and Nirma for HSE training. Now we can continue through to the next step from here, or we can go back to select one, step one, select requirement. I'm actually going to go to step one on this one and add environmental induction. So Tina also needs an environmental induction. So I'm going to go through training again, add environmental induction, give it a moment to think about it. It will produce the list, and I'm going to go through and click Tina's name. So untick, show already registered. We're going to go into here, and we're going to click this, and we're going to continue to the next step. That's a way you can add multiple training and pay for it in one lot. So instead of going to the next step, I'm going to go back to order cards register. This way I can tick all the training that I want to be pushed through in one section. So right here, I've got the APA HSE induction, and then down here I have the environmental. And as you can see, they all need paying for. So I'm going to click on Andrews, I'm going to click on Nirma's, I'm going to click on Tina's, and Tina's environmental. Now, as you can see, the green button has appeared. So I'm going to go to the next step. We will get this lovely dialog box, and this dialog box is just thinking about the steps in which need to happen. So here is all of my training, and I'm going to continue to the next step. It's kind of like where we left off before we went back to step 1 again to add more to our basket. So we continue to the next step, and then I can pay for all the fees. Except I've realized that Andrew did have it. So I'm going to cancel Andrew's. That's something I can do right here. I can also do that in the basket. So I will cancel his here, and I can use that button. And I really don't need Nirma's anymore. I thought I did, but she's given me a certificate. Here I'm going to cancel Nirma's. So that gives me the option to add or take away. All right, so now I should only have, and we will wait for it to stop thinking, but Nirma has left. So now all we have is Tina and Tina. And so we've got HSE and environmental, and I'm going to pay for all of these fees. And I'm going to proceed with a purchase order. Again, we're just going to go through and make sure that we don't actually have a to pay for it. In this instance, I don't want my accounts department to pay for it, but this is where you would put in the purchase order number, or you would go through credit card and pay for with credit card. We've let it think for a moment. We're going to continue to the next step. And then we want to send for approval. If we don't send for approval, it won't go to our automatic system. Training is also delivered within 4 hours. So what from now, it would be until 2:13 that the training may go out to. So if you don't hear within the 4 hours, give us a call or send us an email, and we can push out that training, or we can attempt to push out that training. But we really need to wait for it in the system to go. Um, just another quick thing I can show you. We can also load our rejected by SkillPASS. Uh, so they've done that. Contact site for an explanation, and his booking was not accepted. Or we can go in and we can have a look at our cancelled registration. So here is where you will see Andrew and Nirma's training in which I cancelled, and it's got the actual account, so the administrator account number on that. So I'm just going to, I understand we've only got a few minutes left, and I have 3 things in which I needed to show you. So I'm going to very quickly go into skills matrix. Now, our skills matrix is where we can select particular skills within our job titles and see who has them. So we can run a report on that. The other is our job matrix, and we can assign job role, see the assigned job roles, etc. So let's go for the initial SkillPASS registration fee and put it in here. Let's also go APA Hse Induction. So they're the 2 skills that I want included. You can have any number in this list. We can go down here, and all of the people I want to check. So we can either go all people, or we can untick a few people. In this case, I want to check all. We continue down, and we always want to make sure that we go the first of the first 2000 to the first of the first 3000. This will allow every single skill in the system to be actually reflected. If you go from a particular date, you will only get from that particular date. But if you're looking for broad spectrum, if anybody has it, it's best to go from the first of the first 2000 to the first of the first 3000. We select which search option we want. So we can either have the people up the top and the competencies down the list, or we can have the competencies up the top and the person's name going down. I'm actually going to do this one. We can select any of these if we needed to, and I'm actually going to display on the screen just so you guys can see that. So it is just thinking about it. And this will load and tell you if there's any training in which like if there's any person who has done this training, or it will show you that it won't have it. So we'll just give it a moment to load. Okay, so on here, we can see that nobody in that list, except for Thomas Shepherd, Paul Sullivan, Nirma, and Andrew, have any of the particular skills in which we had a look at. So this person has paid the fee, and we've got only the people highlighted in green having done the APA. So Thomas has done the APA Hse Induction, and so has Nirma. So I'm going to exit that. Other options you could have chosen were export as a PDF or export as a spreadsheet. So that's very helpful when you need to number crunch. So let's go into job matrix now. This is where you do this, but not for a skill level, for a job level. So on this one, we can go, let's just get one up, and we'll go APA laborer. And we get it and we drag it across. And let's go SkillPASS general. Now, if you needed any others, job titles added, all you need to do is email SkillPASS and we can add those in. So I'm going to, like I said, instead of picking some people, I'm going to go all employees and I'm going to go display on screen. So here we can also run these reports if you want to ask us. So that's just email at admin@skillpass.com.au and we can get in and do that for you. So I'm just going to give that a moment to think about it. Now we can see that Warren doesn't have APA laborer on his profile. And to make his skill pass valid, he needs a valid photo ID. So as we keep going down, we can see all of these do not have APA laborer, and this is what we need. So Bob Sullivan actually has a valid skill pass. So does Sebastian. I believe it's Sebastian. The others need photo ID. But for Christopher, as you can see, he needs all of these to comply with the APA standards of labourer title. So as you can see, it's a very comprehensive list and we can give you a job role matrix. So we'll now head into expiries, and this section doesn't actually take a long time to explain, but it is very important when you're looking for expiries of, say, qualifications like first aid or driver's licenses, etc. It also shows you the SkillPASS fees. So we open up the expiries and we have two toggle buttons. So display items that expire within. Now we've got this and I'm going to go within 1 year, and or expired up to 5 years. So if we just give that a moment and then scroll down, we will see what has actually come from that. There's no push search button, but these are all the things that need fixing. So for example, David here, his SkillPASS registration, it expires on the 7th of 21. I don't need to do that right now. But Rachel's is expired because it's coming up in red. So I'm going to go fix this. And I will pay with a purchase order. And I will upload that. So I close this, and as we can see, Rachel's SkillPASS has turned into awaiting approval. Now, all of these that need fix it may show as several things in the fees section. So if it says SkillPASS registration, that means they're in their first year and it hasn't been renewed. If it's annual renewal, like Dwayne's is, that means that they're in there at least second year, and then it needs to be renewed from there. So all of these will need a charge of $33 to fix these. As we go down, you can now see all of the others. So, for example, Rachel needs her provide cardio, so provide CPR. And so we're going to go fix this. And so I'm going to say she got that today. That lasts for 1 year. And we will select the qualification, and we will add that in, and we will upload the paperwork. So that has now gone to awaiting approval also. It's very important that when you're doing these, that we do add the right skill in as well. So if you added confined spaces here instead of CPR, it will be declined. So this is here. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and just let you know of a few things that have also changed within SkillPASS. So you may or may not have realized, but we have some help processing our documents. So you would have received an email uh, showing that all driver's licenses and qualifications now need the front and back if they're cards, or the complete certificate. So just going forward, just make sure that if you put in any of your driver's license, make sure that you add the front and the back, otherwise people may actually decline these. Outside of that, you've also got the things like making sure you add the statement of attainment where it is a statement of attainment and not a certificate of attendance or anything like that. So that is where some people get caught out. So if they've got a statement of attainment, we want to recognize their qualification opposed to not actually having their qualification recognized for a certificate of attendance, so to speak. So that is all of our training for today. I am going to thank you here, and I'm going to stop the recording and then allow open the floor for some questions. So I'll just stop recording now.